Is this thing on? Welcome to episode 14 of the 49 Carats podcast. It's another happy episode. We just finished week 2, and the 49ers emerged victorious over the Philadelphia Eagles. They got it done yet again, second week in a row where it was a little too close for comfort, but walked away with a win, so can't complain. As always, I'm Angelina Martin, and this is my co-host, Steph. Steph, what's up? Steph Sanchez. I'll give you your last name shout out.
Well, I'm feeling good too. I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head. It was a win. Maybe they didn't do as well as we had hoped they would do for the second week in a row, but a win is a win. So we're going to enjoy it and celebrate it.
Yeah, I just want to say we've been Hat Gang the past few weeks, and I feel like it's a vibe for us.
It is a vibe, but also I haven't gotten a haircut in a bit, so it's more so I'm just hiding, what's underneath.
You haven't gotten a haircut. I am too lazy to do my hair. When you do live shows, those are the things you have to take into consideration. So I don't have as many hats as you, though, that's for sure. So I need to step up my game because I'm wearing the same one every week almost.
Yeah, we need to get you, squared away with some new hats.
Yeah, if anyone wants to send me one, go for it. I'm broke. So let's hop into the episode. Like I said, it's going to be a fun one. Lots to talk about. But we're going to start with this week in 49ers history, as we always do. So, Steph, what happened this week?
All right. So in 1964, taking it way back.
Wow.
Okay. Bernie Casey set the franchise record for most receiving yards in his first 2 games. He had 288 yards in his first 2 games. Now, the reason that I chose this particular tidbit of history is because yesterday, Debo came really close to breaking that record. Through 2 games, Debo has 282 yards, which I think puts him first in this season. I think he's the top wide receiver in terms of yardage this season, so that's awesome. In the NFL, yes. But that puts him third in franchise history behind Bernie Casey and Jerry Rice, Jerry Rice had 285 in 1989.
Yeah, that's funny. When I was looking at, what we were going to talk about this episode earlier, and I saw the first half of that little tidbit, I was like, pretty sure Debo was really close to breaking that. And then lo and behold, I went to the next bullet point and you had it all laid out, Steph. So very timely. Yeah, we love the history. So that's yesteryears. Now we're fast forwarding to present day with 49ers news and some news that came out before the game. Some tragic news, actually, is literally the only word I can think of to describe it, was that Raheem Moster, rather than that 8-week period that we thought he might be out due to his injury, a cartilage chip in his bone, he has decided to have season-ending surgery. He announced that on social media, and of course, there was an outpouring of support. And I know a lot of people were donating to charities in his name and donating numbers or dollar amounts that were the same as his number. So he was excited to see that. And big ups to him. Hopefully I don't want to say comes back, but I don't know what's going to happen. So that's what makes it so sad, I think, is because of the uncertainty and if we'll see him rushing for the 49ers again. Steph, any thoughts on the Raheem news?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely really sad. We talked about it a bit in our last episode that, he's just fought through a lot in his career, I feel like. And, I feel like every year there were just high hopes for him. And so, it's tough, especially this early in the season to, see him go out. I know that the decision to have the surgery, was more of a good personal decision for him. And hopefully he'll be 100% at the start of next season. I really don't expect that he'll be back on the 49ers next year. I think, that it just is what it is.
Yeah, that's fact.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. But all the best of luck to him for sure.
Yeah. And then in other news along the same lines of, running back news, the 49ers signed running back Trenton Cannon. What do you think about that grab, Steph? I mean, good thing. I know the work's not done, especially after this week, which I'm sure we'll get into. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we'll definitely get into all of the injuries that were suffered in this game. But yeah, I mean, Trenton Cannon, he was on the Bears. He's a special teamer, returning punts and things like that. So I like that aspect of his game. But it seems like he might be forced into a bigger role in the coming weeks. So hopefully he's up for the challenge.
Yeah, I think it's no secret that, I think if you're a running back, the place you want to go is the Niners, because we've seen people that weren't really on anyone's radar before turn into, people that running backs that everyone's talking about the next day after game day when they're playing for Kyle Shanahan. So he's only had one touchdown in his 4-year career. So maybe this is that little boost that he needs. And like you said, he might have the opportunity to do so given all the injuries that we saw on Sunday. So Dre Greenlaw, moving on, is having surgery for his groin, and that's a 6 to 8 week timetable. That stinks to hear. I mean, he's a key player, so never good. And I think it came as a little bit of a surprise to everyone, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially I think the timetable for him. Sorry, we're talking about Greenlaw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't really expecting it to be that long of a timeline, and just the fact that he was going to need surgery. But again, like if it's for long-term health, it's obviously the best decision for him. So it's a bummer. And I mean, we've also seen Aziz Al-Shair, and we've been talking him up for a couple episodes as well. So, next man up, as we always say, and as we say all too often as a 49er fan, it feels like.
Yeah. But I think, given the injuries that we saw after week 1, I was pleasantly surprised by the outcome on defense on Sunday, and I know
Right.
we'll talk about it. So a big part of that was that Javon Kinlaw was active, and then Aaron Banks and Ambry Thomas were inactive. So those were some of the impacts that were felt prior to the game. But then once we got into the game, everything turned out okay. So especially with Kinlaw back. Let's hop into the game review. So what did you think of the game, Steph? I feel like this is the second week in a row where, yes, the 49ers are 2-0, but like, why is my Twitter timeline in absolute turmoil? Like, what is going on?
Well, and okay, we should be happy about the win, right? I mean, we always say a win is a win. Let's just enjoy it. But, when you have certain expectations for how certain games should go, and if the team doesn't live up to those expectations, granted, we knew that the Eagles were going to be a tougher opponent than the Lions, but, you kind of get in these situations now back to back where the game should be put away way earlier than it was, right? So I think that's part of the panic on some fans' minds, and maybe even frustrations. We saw the offense start really slow. I think that was part of the frustration. I mean, I definitely was frustrated. I try to hide that a little bit, but it's appeared on my Twitter timeline. Like, I've been tweeting some things that I've been feeling, and I've been getting roasted a bit. Forgot how many Jimmy fans are out there, but anyway, yeah. I mean, just altogether though, it wasn't just Jimmy. There were a couple drops early in the game. Also, just the running game could not get going, and then they did not have a first down, I think, in the whole first quarter. That's not going to cut it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So these slow starts can't continue. I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. It obviously got off to a really slow start, and I know that the crowd noise was one thing that a lot of people were pointing out. And I mean, just watching it on TV, it was super loud. And obviously, it's difficult to communicate on offense with that, but that's no excuse. I mean, these are professionals that play in loud, packed stadium. I mean, granted, I guess they didn't last year, but these are
Right.
these are professionals that should be used to that, So it got started off slow, but rewatching some of the highlights, that first touchdown drive, Jimmy Garoppolo did make some pretty good passes, like into defenders, which I feel like old Jimmy, if we want to go and say that there is an old Jimmy, I feel like a lot more of those passes would have been more off and intercepted if we're talking about old Jimmy. So I feel like he's
More
improved in
off.
that. More off. They would have been I'm talking about the ones he completed. And yeah, I mean, I know you tweeted out that pass that he threw to Ayuk that was like that was very high. It was almost like a replay of that preseason catch that everyone was going to war over. But we saw an injury to Graham. I'm terrible. I don't know his first name, but he's one of
Brandon
the
Graham.
Eagles edge rush. And so when he came out, I feel like that was kind of a pivotal turning point in the game. And I feel like the offense started to improve just from that one injury and from that one key player coming out. But, one player coming out can have a domino effect like that. And I think we did see some composure from Jimmy after that first quarter. He settled down and made throws that he wasn't making in the first quarter. So it could have been worse, could have been better. But there's a lot that we could talk about if we sat down and analyzed every single throw,
Yeah, oh, for sure. And I mean, yeah, definitely the second quarter is when things started to really come together. I mean, there was it's funny because it really could have gotten out of hand. I feel like there were two times where like the Eagles kind of, either marched down the field or they had that like really long 90-yard pass that already put them in the red zone.
Yeah.
So there's 2 points in the game where it felt like it really could have gotten out of hand. And at that point, the Eagles had 3, and I think the Niners didn't have any points. So if they went up 10-0, all of a sudden it's a completely different game. Luckily, like the defense really nailed down on that one defensive stop by the goal line. And that was very important. Also, Kinlaw's blocked field goal. Like, if those things don't happen, like, we're talking about a completely different game and potentially even a loss. But after that, I feel like the offense did also, the momentum shifted definitely. And so I feel like some of that went on to the offense and, they got going a little bit. And then, yeah, I mean, I just feel like, yeah, the second quarter is when it really came together. And so I'm just glad it came together at all, because in the beginning it was looking pretty grim there.
Yeah, I mean, being down 3-0 rather than 10-0 is a huge difference, So exactly what you're saying, like that blocked kick was huge. The defense goal line stand after they did make that huge pass on the field, that was huge. Even that touchdown getting called back, it was a touchdown, right, where he stepped out of bounds. Yeah, that touchdown getting called back. And I'm not like a defensive guru, but good job by Lenore, like not letting him get off the line so much and kind of making him step out of bounds. So Diamador and Lenore crew, let's go.
Yeah, he had a great game. I mean, that's as much as you can hope for in a rookie, coming into a second game.
Yeah, and I will be the first to admit that I was one of those people that was like, what's up with all the screen passes? Like, what's up with all the check downs, But I don't know why I'm surprised, because if you watch this team in 2019, like this is the game plan with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. It's nothing new. They went to the Super Bowl with the same game plan 2 years ago. Granted, they didn't win. That's a conversation for another day. The failures of Kyle Shanahan, but like it's working so far. They're 2-0. So I don't know. I know we're going to get into the quarterback debate here in a bit, but I know you have some Jimmy Garoppolo stats that you wanted to share.
Yeah, so I already mentioned the offense started over 5 on third down conversions. And at one point of the game, Jimmy's average depth of target, what a lot of people refer to as ADOT on Twitter, was negative 1.5. So not
Is that
Not great, Bob.
I was about to
We need
say,
a
is that
soundboard
good?
with me saying that.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob. He ended
Not
up
great, Bob.
finishing with a 4.2 ADOT, but still, that's not great. I think through 2 games, he's like bottom 5 or bottom 6 on average depth of target. Not great, but you said it. It's this dink and dunk offense that we've been seeing. And I mean, I want to ask you because you seem to be, somewhat okay with it or comfortable knowing that, like, this is the offense that Jimmy's going to run. And, they 2 wins, right? So you can't be too mad, but like, so you're comfortable with it. You're not like super frustrated or
I have a lot of opinions. I swear, like, I'm very indecisive, first of all. Like, I mean, we saw me after week 1, Trey Lance threw a touchdown, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, he can throw the ball more than 5 yards, let's get him in there. Why not? I Is it hard to be uncomfortable with a winning record? Yes, but I think there's still the possibility to be uncomfortable with it because, again, this is the Lions and the Eagles that the 49ers are 2-0 against. And we've been watching the rest of the NFC West teams who are undefeated, except for the Seahawks. Had to throw that in there. Everyone else is undefeated, and everyone else looks pretty potent compared to our
absolutely.
offense.
Yep.
So, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm comfortable. But I don't know. I can understand why if you're winning, it would have been so much. And I don't think Kyle Shanahan cares about drama or any of that. We've seen that, but it would be very dramatic to have pulled Jimmy Garoppolo and put in Trey Lance. Could you imagine?
I agree. I mean, I definitely don't think it was that bad. And also, it was very early in the game.
Right.
At that point, the score was, 0-0, 0-3. So, there wasn't any panic, which I appreciate. I appreciate that there wasn't any like reactionary impulsive moves. But so one thing that I've been saying this morning and is that I don't think that this dink and dunk offense is going to sustain over the course of the full season.
No way.
I mean, I'm happy with the win, but I'm not sure. Another tougher defense is going to take away the things that are working for you. And when that
Exactly.
happens, you're going to be forced to, throw downfield. We've seen Jimmy, miss passes downfield. We've also seen him make some. So I just want to say that as well, but he's definitely not as accurate, right? So I think when it comes to that, there's eventually going to be a fork in the road where at some point when the defenses really catch up to what the 49ers are doing, I think at that point we'll see Kyle Shanahan face with the decision, do we go Trey here? And I thought it was interesting, and I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because I know that we're going to talk about, the QB debate in a bit. But I did think it was interesting that Kyle Shanahan said that he didn't even think about, putting Lance in. So, I mean, just something to think about and chew on for the next few weeks. I mean, I think, I don't know. I just hope for better games in the coming weeks, especially against Packers and Seahawks. Next 2 games,
Yeah.
very, very tough games.
It's fine. The thing with this offense that concerns me the most is like so far these past 2 games against non-playoff teams, like every point has mattered. Like
Yeah.
every single play has been so important to the outcome of the game, which is the case for any football game, but you make one mistake, that's like the difference between a win and a loss. And yeah, someone just brought up that throw I was talking about earlier that kept that touchdown drive going to Debo. That was between 2 defenders. It was sharp. It was nice. I liked it. More of that. And it was
more of that, please. Yes.
It was a little downfield. It might have been 10 or 15 yards. So we're making progress. But yeah, like you see quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, I mean, that's not a great example, but Patrick Mahomes, like everyone watched that shootout last night, right? And these are guys that they can afford for their teams to make a mistake because they'll pick them back up. They'll go down and drive down the field and score a touchdown. It's not like this incredibly hard thing to score a touchdown, which I feel like, this offense so far isn't looking like one that's going to be able to put up 30 points every game, which is, I would like to see an offense that could put up 30 points every game, throw the ball
I would
downfield,
like to
have the
see
big
it.
plays. I would like to see it. So a lot to be desired, but like I said, it's working-ish.
It's working.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Jason.
Hi, Jason. We saw Jason distracted me. I was like, Jason. So a big part of the reason why the quarterback play was really good is because that O-line continued to play well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Alex Mack in the middle. Is he the X factor?
I think so. I think, obviously center is like the glue to the offensive line, I feel like. And that was something that we definitely missed in last season. And so I feel like it kind of just brings everyone together and just kind of brings a cohesiveness to the offensive line. So, McGlinchey, only one pressure allowed. Brunskill, we saw, has struggled at some points in these first two games, which is a little concerning. But as long as everyone else can, get their shit together and keep it together, then, it's fine. We can work with it.
We should get shirts that just say it's fine.
Yeah, that meme. It's fine with the fire around it.
The fire. Yeah,
basically what being a 49ers fan is like. But yeah, the offensive line is ranked highest in pass blocking efficiency per PFF at 94.2. So all in all, really good, and you love to see that.
Yeah, you do love to see it. And I know that's something that we talked about last week as well. And I think for the most part, it has translated into, the quarterback play. I think that's a big part of the reason. I know it was a big part of the reason last year why people or what people blamed the quarterback struggles on. So maybe there's a correlation. Let's talk about Debo. No QB sneaks without Mack. Yes, Dawson, that is fact. The sneakiest NFL quarterback.
Dude,
we have that going.
4 of them. And 1 for a touchdown.
And you know what? Someone said, they're like, why are we freaking hyping up Jimmy G over QB sneaks? Let us have it. Like, let us have
because it's a first thing. Down. Hello?
Yeah.
Anything that keeps the ball moving. Come on now.
Wasn't one of them a touchdown?
Yes.
Did he sneak that? Okay. I was going to the bathroom and I was like coming back and he had scored. So I was like, damn it, I missed it. But yeah, I thought it was a sneak. So shout out JG. Keep it up. Sneaky little bastard. Okay, so Debo, team MVP, right? So far, 2 weeks.
I think at this point, yes, I'd have to give it to him. He has been beasting so far, like eating up the yak, like just. He's making. I don't want to discredit anything that Garoppolo has done, but he's making his job way easier. Like, you throw it few yards and Debo is able to, make a huge chunk play out of it, which I can definitely appreciate. He's just I hope he keeps it up,
Yeah. With Ayuk seemingly out of the picture, I know he has the second most snaps out of the receivers, I think, behind Debo, but obviously nowhere near the amount of targets. I think was he targeted more than twice yesterday? I know there was the high pass and then the catch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we've seen really Debo is wide receiver 1 this year. And it's cool to actually see him catching a lot more passes down the field than usual. I know a lot of people, it's fact. He's used in a running role a lot, whether it's, a shovel pass or a flip to him. That's something he's good at because he is so hard to tackle, but it's cool to see him actually, out there catching passes more than usual. So, do you think he's catching more this year? Like, have you noticed that, or like, am I just making things up?
I think so. I think compared to last year at this point, for sure. Like you said, right now he's a wide receiver 1. and he's getting most of the targets at this point, even more than Kittle at this point, which a lot of people have said in the past. Kittle is like the wide receiver one in this offense, but through 2 weeks, not so much. Turns out Debo is not so much an extension of the run game.
Yeah,
who would have thought?
But they did still use him in that capacity a little bit.
Yes, they did.
So it's good to see them taking advantage of all of his qualities and his talents. You wrote down here as the most yards per route run through 2 weeks, 5.42, and he has the most receiving yards in the NFL. So he's killing it. And we talked a little bit about Ayuk, but let's really dive in. I know we had our tinfoil hats on last week, and I think everyone did. It's hard not to when someone who had a breakout year like he did last season is not targeted really at all the first game. So it looked like he was still an afterthought in the offense.
It did, but I don't want to overreact about it, because he did play more snaps than he did in week 1, and like you mentioned, he wasn't that far behind Debo in terms of like the amount of snaps he played. 2 targets, you'd like to see more, obviously, but I think part of the thing with Ayuk, as long as Jimmy Garoppolo is a quarterback, I'm not sure that he's going to be, targeted all that much. And I'm not sure if it's a chemistry thing, or if it's the fact that, Ayuk is usually the one that runs like the deeper routes. He's usually more downfield. And as we know, like, I think sometimes Garoppolo kind of strays away from those decisions. So I don't know. And if you notice, even last year, Ayuk didn't really start coming on until, Garoppolo was injured and we saw the other quarterbacks come in. So I think it's definitely a
you think it's a chemistry thing too?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there seems to be some, I don't know if it's a lack of trust or what. But just something's off with them that just, I don't think, and it happens, but yeah, I don't think as long as Garoppolo is a quarterback, we're going to see Ayuk be, wide receiver 1 in this offense. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. I don't quote. I don't know how much yak he had last year, but I don't think he's quite as yak attack gang as Debo, which is something that really benefits a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo. So why wouldn't you throw to him more? Why wouldn't you throw to George Kittle more? If you can't pass it down the field, get it to the guys who can run it down the field after the fact. So I guess we'll see. That is like definitely for me, I know the quarterback situation was at the forefront of the headlines leading up to the season, but to me, this has been like one of the biggest storylines of the season, and something to keep track of as the weeks go on. And I mean, it's only week 2 and we're already counting snaps. So it's safe to say we're there, and we're concerned, but I don't know. Like, do you think it's time to hit the panic button? Like, was this a bust? Like, what do you think?
No, I'm not ready to hit the panic button, because I know that the talent is there. Like, he gets open. That's not the issue. It's just that as long as, Garoppolo is a quarterback, they're just not going to be either on the same page or just like comfortable with each other. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to panic, because I mean, Lance, he's eventually going to be playing more, starting eventually.
I would hope so.
Right.
For what we spent on him. So
yeah, right. So I mean, I'm not ready to panic, and I trust that he was not in the doghouse ever. So yeah, I mean, I'm not panicking. Are you?
No, and I didn't mean to say that Ayuk's not a yak, bro. But I mean, when when you have Debo, I mean, I'm just trying to make sense of it, dude. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a sense of all this confusion and uncertainty, and try and come up with a reason. Because, but I think Steph's spot on. It's just. Did we agree that it's a chemistry thing? That might not be the right word, but I think there's just a lot that we don't understand about it. We're not in the locker room. We're not in their heads. So We just got
We're not in their
to watch it
heads.
from
No.
afar. Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about George Kittle really quick because is he still on the team? I was wondering if you could help me out. It seems like every week we're like looking for missing players.
Yeah. Did you put up a missing person poster out in your neighborhood yet for George Kittle?
No, haven't gone on my worldwide search yet for George Kittle, but I'm almost there. So
But it is, so that's something uh, concerned about. I hate to use the word concerned, but like he's one of your best offensive players. Like use him. What was he doing out? Like was I need to watch. So I watched the game
blocking the
over,
shit
but I
out of
need to
people.
yeah, blocking the shit out of people. So as he always does, but like
Yeah.
God, get the guys some like routes to run, and I mean, I'm sure he did, but like I don't know. I feel like there weren't many plays drawn up for him.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, they're winning, baby. Feels great, baby. Let's win by more next week, though. Let's try that.
Please. Hope
Yeah,
so.
and this episode would not be complete without talking about the running backs. Wasn't the typical Kyle Shanahan running back game that I think we have become used to, that we expect to see. Elijah Mitchell still looked good, but wasn't as impactful as the week prior after coming in when Moster went out. So what did you think of Elijah Mitchell, and why do you think Philly was so good at stopping the run game?
I mean, I think we kind of knew that the Eagles' defensive line was going to be better than the Lions. So again, like that's not something I was really concerned of. It was more so the slow start, which I think the entire offense was just off to begin the game. We did see Mitchell, start to come along as the game went on as well and get into a groove and get a little bit more yardage. Um, so I'm not worried about him. He looks good.
No, not at all.
I'm more concerned about all these damn injuries.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about Trey Sermon because
Oh man.
I'm sure everyone was with me. I was stoked when I saw him in the backfield on that play. I don't know. I had a good feeling about it. I was like, this
Yeah.
is it. Here we go, bud. Prove yourself.
Right.
And then, I mean, the run was one of my favorite runs of the day. Honestly, he looked good on
He
that
looked
one
good, yeah.
run. He looked powerful. He looked fast, and then it all turned to shit.
Yeah, in like 1 second.
Yeah. So he got literally elbowed like in the back of the head. And then as his head was going down, we saw the helmet to helmet, which came and just completely pulverized him. I thought he broke his neck, like especially the way.
No,
So
it
he
was
fumbled.
scary.
Obviously, anyone would fumble after that hit.
Right.
But like to not even like you're playing in a football game and you're not even the first thing you reach for is your head. Like after a fumble,
Yeah.
like that shit hurt. I gotta stop cussing. But yeah, it looked really bad. So he's on concussion protocol now. Trey Sermon thoughts. Devastating. Another one.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously not ideal for the first carry. The fumble, I'm not concerned of because like you said, that was more because, he was literally concussed on the play. We see players all the time lose control of their bodies in certain cases when they're hit in the head, and very scary situation. And like you said, it was a good run. I'm thankful that it was just a concussion. Like you never wish any injury on someone, but if he had to be hurt, concussion is not going to keep him out as long. I mean, and the team might need him next week, and if not, the next week after that, because we're at this point trying to get anyone off the street to play running back, right? So
Yeah. If you've ran
hopefully,
a football before, please call Levi's Stadium and let them know. They're on the lookout. Yeah, but like you said, he'll be back. It's not going to keep him out for long, so it's not going to keep him out hopefully at all. But
yeah,
I thought
exactly.
it was a lot worse when it first happened, like
Oh yeah,
100%. So that was
yes.
good news. Yeah, and then Hasty, I know he had that one fumble, but other than that, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, I love the way he runs. Like he just runs so hard, and just the way he cuts is like, boom. Pff,
Yes.
you like those
Yeah.
sound effects?
Yeah. Boom.
That's basic. Yeah, that's basically him. Like when you switch lanes in a Ferrari, I'll just
Yeah.
pretend I know what that feels like, and
Yeah.
you just speed off into the abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
When I get
hasty.
in my Ferrari, I know what it feels like. Someone commented, Frank Gore.
Oh no.
I'm
Let's talk about
sorry.
this.
Yeah.
No, let's talk about this really quickly.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So someone
Frank
commented Frank
Gore.
Gore. A lot of people are commenting Frank Gore. People are tweeting Jed York to sign him. It's not going to happen.
He's busy.
We shouldn't want it to happen, and he just
You heard, right?
put it to rest. Like let's just stop.
But you know why he wouldn't even come back, right? You heard about that, right?
Apparently he's boxing now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
He said he's preparing for a high profile fight. If he's fighting one of the Paul brothers,
Dude.
I'm out.
No,
I'm out.
I would 100% watch that.
100%. But like, what are we even doing here, man? Like,
high profile fight.
Do you think he would win?
I mean, good luck. Good luck to him. I love Frank Gore. Okay, so I just want to say that I love Frank Gore.
Oh, support him in whatever he does.
Yeah, like had an incredible career here in 49ers as Muboville, I hope I pronounced that correctly, commented he's 38. Can you imagine a 38-year-old playing running back in the NFL? I mean, he's been largely ineffective on the last couple of teams that he's been on. Part of the reason why he isn't on a team now, also, he doesn't really fit the mold of what Kyle Shanahan likes in running backs. The 49ers are desperate, but like, I don't know if they're that desperate.
Kyle Shanahan wants a Ferrari, not a tank.
Exactly, a tank. Yes, Frank the Tank. Yes,
no,
they don't need a tank.
Though. But this was a discussion during the off season. Feel like it has been a discussion anytime Frank Gore is a free agent or is on a team. But yeah, he's busy boxing. He's 38 years old. I'm surprised someone hasn't come to Tom Brady's 44. But yeah, it's not gonna happen. While it would be fun, it would not be practical. So
the team will sign him one more time, and it'll be the day he retires. If that makes anyone feel better.
Yeah,
just not now.
Yeah, it'll be a special day, and you guys can all have your tea and crumpets over it. Okay, so let's get into the Twitter tizzy.
Yeah,
this is our favorite part of the day. Okay, so we didn't have like a specific tizzy. It's kind of a broad tizzy. It's kind of a tizzy that has haunted us.
Has not gone away.
For a while. Yeah, but I will say this tizzy, I haven't seen it as talked about recently since the start of the season as it was after maybe starting at the beginning of the first quarter of the game yesterday, which was the argument that, Trey Lance should be, if this is the offense we're going to roll with, Trey Lance should be in these games and Trey Lance should be doing this because it's definitely a playbook and play calling that I feel like a rookie could handle. A lot of people feel like a rookie could handle. So what do you think, Steph? What did you see on Twitter? A lot of people dropping hot takes about this, a lot of people fighting, a lot of warfare on the internet, which is nothing new
always,
if you're a 49ers fan. Exactly.
The usual.
But what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think that Trey Lance should be starting these games? Do you think Trey Lance should have been put into the game? At some point, I think a lot of people were advocating when it was just 3-0. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, first, someone commented, First and Faithful commented, Twitter tizzy, we should trademark that. I agree. Maybe we should. All right. Well, getting into the Lance and Jimmy argument, and I just realized that in my notes, so I write notes before every episode, and besides Twitter tizzy, I accidentally put Trey versus Lance.
Oh my god!
In my head, he's the only quarterback apparently. So
that sounds like a horror movie. Like, I don't know, your evil twin is competing with you for the quarterback position or something. Trey versus Lance. And you know what? I have the same outline as you that you sent me, and I didn't even notice it. Like, my brain just
I just
turned
noticed. I
it
just
into
noticed.
the correct
So,
thing.
but anyway, I mean, yes, I understand people's frustration in the first quarter because I was also frustrated. We've talked about it before, Ange. Like when we're watching games, it's a roller coaster of emotions. You know, you go from panicking and wanting Lance in, and then the next play, maybe Jimmy scores a touchdown and all is well and right in the world again. It happens. This is just what it's like to be a fan of an NFL team. Most times, we talk ourselves down from it. So I think, like, yes, in the beginning, I was also frustrated. I wanted Lance in because he just gives you that spark, I feel like. But, they stayed course, or they stayed the course. And is that the correct phrase?
Yes,
That sounded wrong
you
for some
nailed it.
reason. They stayed the
No.
course, and it ended up working out for them. And like I mentioned before, Kyle Shanahan's comments that he didn't even think about putting Lance in the game, I think, and I mentioned this before as well, that they didn't seem panicked at all. And I think even Garoppolo said that at some point, like, yeah, the team wasn't panicked, and it kind of showed. And part of me was like, what? Like, why aren't you like panicking? You should be trying to win this game. But like, I don't know. They stayed very level headed, unlike myself, and they won the game. So I
Yeah.
can't really criticize Kyle one way or another because it ended up working out. So
Yeah, I think I like to think that there's a line in the sand, and we haven't gotten there yet. You know,
yes,
they were playing the Eagles. Like, let it play out. This isn't a top NFL team. Like, we still definitely have a shot here. This game is not over. It's 3-0.
yeah,
No, don't hit the panic button. I think it's normal for a fan base who trades this much draft capital to move up in the draft and take a quarterback, when you have the quarterback on the roster that's getting paid this much money. And some people look at it as he took the team to a Super Bowl. Some people look at it as he lost a Super Bowl. So I think this discourse is like completely normal. I mean, we were fans of the team when there was Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. That was a huge divide between fans. It's kind of the tale of the 49ers throughout the decades, right? So it's no surprise. And I know a lot of people are speculating that maybe we could see Trey Lance further down the line, against one of these more talented teams,
yeah.
like the Seahawks, like I don't know. We have to see what happens tonight, but like the Packers, I'm still going to consider them a talented team. So yeah, I just don't think that it's gotten to that bad of a point yet where this needs to be like we need to act like the ship is on fire and sinking, you know?
Oh, completely, 100% agree. And while I go through my roller coaster of emotions, it, like I said, it always gets better. But I agree. I think the team will get to a point where they have to decide, okay, do we want to ride it out with Jimmy, even though there's no benefit at that point? I assume there won't be a benefit. Or do we, put Lance in, right? And First and Faithful, again, with a great comment here, Shanahan is going to let Jimmy play himself out of the job. He knows the locker room loves Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that first part for sure. I mean, he's going
Line.
to let Jimmy play himself out of the job. Like, and so far, no interceptions thrown by Garoppolo, which we've seen him struggle with that in the past. Yeah, let's knock on wood one time for the one time because
Yeah.
you never know. But I think once we start to see interceptions, mistakes like that, and we've already seen overthrows and being inaccurate, but I feel like the team could live with those. But at
Mhm.
some point, they're not going to be able to live with turning the ball over.
Yeah,
But we haven't
yeah,
seen that
and
yet.
the overthrows and the little things are all the reasons that they traded up for hopefully who will become the next franchise quarterback. Because if you're going toe to toe with Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, like, you need a quarterback that's making every single throw.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So the story is not over. The tale is not done. We're gonna have to see how it plays out, just like everything else we talk about, like Ayuk. We're just gonna have to see how it plays out. And yeah, like, it's gonna have to play himself out of the job. It's gonna have to be really bad. It's gonna have to be ugly. I hope it doesn't happen. Don't crucify me for that. But I hope the ship doesn't start burning down, because what if Trey Lance isn't the answer? Then the ship's really burning down, So we're just gonna
Oh
have to
man,
see what
they
happens.
got bigger problems if Trey Lance isn't the answer. But I
Yeah,
mean,
which
I'm running under the assumption that he is, but
me
maybe
too.
just not now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Um,
that line in the sand, baby, the waves are gonna crash over it one day.
that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Can you hear it?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, and then I'll just, I guess, finish with this, that like Garoppolo, the way he plays kind of reminds me of Alex Smith. And I feel like we've said that before, like we probably have, but it's this safe, offense, right? Where it's dink and dunk, and you're just looking to get a completion. It doesn't have to be a home run every time, but you're just trying to move the ball, and it works. It wins you games. It's efficient. Fans aren't always going to be excited about it, but it works. And unless there's a situation like Alex Smith where there's an injury, or if he plays himself out of it, then we're going to continue to see it.
Yeah, and then on those occurrences where there is like an exciting deep ball, or a really really good pass, it's like the most exciting thing in the world. Whereas like with some other quarterbacks, it's just run of the mill, like, yeah, another day in the life. So there's excitement in that regard when he when he throws a little something in there that you weren't expecting. Yeah, and oh my gosh, I wish I could find the tweet. I should have bookmarked it before, and I can't even remember who it was. You might know what I'm talking about, but they posted Alex Smith's record through the first 2 weeks in 2013 compared to Jimmy Garoppolo's stats in the first
Wow.
2 weeks this year. And then, it had the picture of Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick walking side by side, and then Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So it's like, is history repeating itself? Like, and it's so weird, the similarities, like, not only between the statistics that were posted, but these young mobile quarterbacks that are kind of a completely different fabric of quarterback that are
Yeah,
waiting in the wings.
right. And on the other hand, Alex Smith and now Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, like at that point in his career, I felt like Alex Smith had really like matured, where like he wasn't making the bonehead mistakes. Um, and he just got better. He matured, but obviously he has a ceiling, right? Um, that's lower than most people, but he made it work.
Yeah.
Um, Also, that totally reminds me, and it doesn't really have much to do with like the Jimmy versus Lance debate, but I wanted to share this tweet that good friend Jordan tweeted earlier, because I feel like he really hit it on the head. Um, Garoppolo left some key throws on the field. These kinds of critical misses likely factored into the decision to trade up for a quarterback. Number two, um, Jimmy also did enough to grit out a win, which is why the front office was in no rush to dump him this past offseason.
It's like a
Nail on the
paradox.
head.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's like, yeah, it's a paradox. That's the best way I can think of to describe it. It's like,
Hmm.
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. This fan base is never going to be happy.
That's
There's
for sure.
there's always going to be a divide. I don't know if I think it's honestly because of social media. It's kind of the same reason this that's what I blame like the state of politics in America on, is everyone is allowed to throw their opinion out there, and then everyone can feed off of each other that only thinks the same way as them, and like isn't even open to hearing like a nuanced take anymore. So it's only week 2. So this is going to be a debate all season. If and when it comes true that Trey Lance comes in, the internet's going to explode. My grandpa will be happy. I don't know if you saw my tweet about my grandpa. My grandpa is a Trey Lance truther. He would like to see Trey Lance in there. So right after he sent me that text was that second quarter where, Jimmy kind of said, "Get wrecked, Dave. I'll show you I can win." So I think he like subconsciously felt that text message from my grandpa in the back of his head. So we can give credit for the win to Dave, my grandpa. Let's talk about the defense. God bless him. Yeah, this was a huge topic in the offseason. A lot of huge topics in the offseason, but a lot of fears out there that we would see a regression on defense with DeMeco Ryans as the defensive coordinator, going from Robert Saleh, who was this storied 49ers defensive coordinator, really, what he was able to do when he finally, got the lay of the land. But so far, so good, even with the injuries that we saw last week. What'd you see from the defense? How you feeling about them?
Oh, man, I feel great. And I'm going to own that I think in the offseason I did have some concerns that there would be a regression from Saleh to DeMeco. I mean, yeah, but I'm very, pleased with the way they've been playing. Obviously, we know that the defensive line was going to be, key in their success, which they have been so far. Also, Fred Warner is just playing out of his mind. Also, Nick Bosa, he had 2 sacks. Let's talk about Eric Armstead really quick, because there's also always like debate about Eric Armstead for some reason. And this guy, he plays his ass off as well. He had 9 pressures. He has 15 pressures through 2 games. What more does this guy need to do?
Yeah, it seems like he's another one of those players that gets a lot of mostly unwarranted criticism, like in my opinion. Granted, I'm not the defensive analyst that a lot of other people are, but yeah, and we saw yesterday, just what he's capable of, and he's a huge part of this defense, like, and has been, Yeah. So it was good to see him, because I know there were a lot of discussions about his pressures in week 1 and how many he was actually credited with and how many he actually had. And so, I mean, yesterday there was no question about it. He was putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and it was fun to watch.
Right.
And Fred Warner, you shouted out Fred Warner. He was everywhere on the field yesterday.
Everywhere.
It was fun to watch.
Especially on that goal line stand. I don't know if they were right at the goal line, but like that red zone stand, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, when he made the play over.
He was like instrumental in that, I felt like, and he played his ass off. Another player, Kinlaw made a huge difference in the middle. Might not be the big sack getter, but he stops the run. He for sure does. Yep. And so I was surprised that he only had 1 tackle, but like, I think, he's still really important in clogging up the middle of the line. And yeah, he's just him being there, I guess, just makes a huge difference. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Also
after K'Wan Williams on that goal line stand, absolutely. I know last week we talked a lot about the absence of Kinlaw, and I think once we saw that he was active for Sunday's game, I think everyone kind of had a sigh of relief, like, because with the mobile quarterback, obviously rushing is going to be even more of a threat. So it was nice to see him back, and it was nice to see him, make an impact like we knew he would.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how about that rookie, man? Going back to Lenore really quick.
Who? I don't know who you're talking about. Hold on, I got to yell at my dogs really quick. Shout out Lenore.
But yeah, Lenore, he in his starting role, he really flourished. We're gonna let Angie yell at her dogs really quick, but he had 11 targets thrown his way. He allowed 4 receptions. One of them, as we know, was that long, 91-yard pass.
And he stumbled.
He did
right?
stumble, yeah.
So
So we'll give it to him. We'll
we'll
give
give
it to
it
him.
to him. We'll give it to him.
I
We're
mean,
not biased.
the defense put the clamps on after that, so it was
Yeah,
really like it's like it never happened. So we'll just pretend it didn't.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just so encouraging to see the way he's been playing. Like the stage is definitely not too big for him. And the Eagles. I don't know why I said it like that. Like I'm from the Midwest. That was weird.
Minnesota, you
You
know,
know,
you
you
know.
know. Anyway, but yeah, like I mean, I feel like he's played. Lions receivers are not great, but like the Eagles, they have some good receivers, so
It's an upgrade.
it's an upgrade, and he still played well. So, and I think he had 3 pass breakups. I saw.
Yeah, my
Excellent.
favorite one was that crazy play where it started with Lenore breaking up the pass, and then it like bounced up, was almost intercepted, like bounced a couple more times. Do you remember? Do you know what play I'm
Yeah.
talking about? We
Yes.
were like,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Like
It's
that
like
was
what
me.
just happened.
Yeah, yeah. So it just goes to show, like when you have a dog on defense, that's what causes those tipped passes and all of those things where if you're a defender and you touch the ball, good things can happen. So it's good to see him out there just acting like he's been out there his whole life, and we've been talking about him since training camp. So it's great to
Yep.
see it translate onto the big stage. And then
Right.
Josh Norman, we last week we were like, oh shoot, we're screwed at cornerback, and then
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
turned out okay. I know he had a couple PI calls, but one of them was on a touchdown pass. So, he decided to take, I don't know if he decided this, I'm just assuming he decided to take the PI instead of allow the touchdown. Good aggressive plays. The one before that earlier in the game, I know some people
Yeah.
said it was questionable, but thought it was a good call, but it didn't impact the game too much. So he played really well.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Considering he'd only been with the team for like a couple weeks now,
Yeah,
so
he's the new guy.
yeah, exactly. And for him to come in and yes, you can talk about his 2 penalties, but aside from that, we didn't really hear much of his name, which is always a good thing when you're playing
Yeah.
cornerback. Um, well, question for you, really quick: if Emmanuel Mosley is back next week, who are you starting?
I would start Lenore and Mosley
Okay, me
personally.
too. Me too.
I think that's
Okay.
the only way to go.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have a rookie who has proven that he can play in these games, and until he screws up, then
Yeah. And I know everyone wants to talk about the 91-yard play, but hey, I'll take the overall performance,
yeah,
I'll take it,
absolutely.
and
I mean, through 2 games,
yeah, he's only going to get better with more playing
yeah,
time. Exactly.
right.
So, yeah, that would, and you said you'd do the same thing.
Yes, it would.
Very
Yep,
cool. Love when we agree. I just love it.
it
So
never
some
happens.
news, yeah, never. There was some news after the game, as there always is. So Kinlaw's knee, it's going to be managed throughout the season. Yeah, I hope so. Like, please continue to manage it. And he said he felt excellent after the game. I know, God, there was a lot of chatter and slander about this guy's knee on Twitter leading up to the game. So I mean, if you said he felt excellent, I'm not as concerned about it as I was like 4 or 5 days ago, or however long ago it was before we knew if he was
Right.
going to be able to play again this week or not. Um, I, I don't know what goes into managing it, but it looks like they're doing a good job. So
Keep it up.
yeah,
Keep it up.
great job, training staff.
I will
But
say I will say that like sometimes a player can feel great right after the game, and then the next day is like, oh, like this is swollen.
yeah,
Like this
yeah,
shit hurt.
you're all
Um
you're all hyped up after the win. You're at the podium, you feel great, and then you
Adrenaline
go
is a hell
home.
of a
Yeah,
drug.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, as long as if they can manage it, which I'm just assuming means, maybe he'll have some days off in the week and keep him healthy up to game day. I mean, if that's all it is, that's fine. And like we said, like he doesn't have to do much. It's just him being there that makes a huge impact. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully, we see him out there again against the Packers. I assume he will be out there. So,
Yeah. I think all signs point to yes. It's looking good. Haven't heard
yes.
anything. I know it's still Monday, but we'll roll with it. Kevin Givens went down during the game, and then he and Hasty both, Jermichael Hasty, they both suffered high ankle sprains. What is it with the high ankle sprains?
The 49ers, the San Francisco
Yeah.
high ankle sprains.
Literally. So good news is there's plenty of depth,
Yes.
where Givens comes into play. But the bad news is there's not plenty of depth when it comes to Hasty.
Not so much.
Yeah. So especially with our next bit of news from after the game that Elijah Mitchell is day-to-day with a shoulder injury. And then, of course, earlier we talked about, Trey Sermon is going to be coming off concussion protocol. And I know we acted like it was all roses, but concussions are serious, and we don't know how that's going to impact him, in the coming weeks. So
yeah, I mean, I don't expect to see Sermon in next week's game. It'd be very optimistic if he were to be available. Mitchell, however, I feel a little hopeful on, just because so he was out of the game and then he came back in after Hasty and Sermon had their injuries. If it was that bad of a shoulder injury, I feel like he wouldn't come back and they'd probably throw in, Juice in there or something. So the fact that he was able to come back at all, gives me some sense of hope. So I hope that he'll be.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. And so Trenton Cannon is the only healthy running back.
Big yikes.
There's a lot going on, though. There's a lot going on.
There is.
TJ Yeldon, Duke Johnson, and Lamar Miller are all visiting the 49ers. They are calling reinforcements in. They need help. And then Kerryon Johnson is on the practice squad and has a chance to be promoted this week. But
yeah,
if there were ever a time to panic about any position, I'm not saying I'm panicking. I feel like 50-50 about it because, like I said, I think, there's a good chance that Kyle's going to do good things for anyone who comes on the team. But this is not good.
No, it is not. And, we were talking about earlier that like Debo isn't being used as much in the run game as he was maybe last year. I wonder if that changes a little bit, especially against the Packers. The Packers, I feel like, are very susceptible to, those jet sweeps historically, the times that Debo has played them. I feel like he's gashed them. So, yeah, I wonder if they'll use some of that. Also, screens are just, if they can execute them better than they did against the Eagles, that could be just like an easy way to get your running backs going.
Screen after screen after screen on Sunday, man. Can they just throw Juice back there? I mean,
yeah,
put him in like I feel like Bruce Miller was kind of a fullback that was more like on the running back side. Like throw him into a little bit more of a running back fullback role. I think
I did wonder about that. Like maybe we do see Juice play a little bit of running back, and maybe Hokett is elevated,
or vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you never know.
I'm just throwing things out there. Well, we'll see how these visits go. Obviously, there's gonna be news on this before next week's game, so. Maybe this is Ayuk's chance to get more touches on the jet sweeps first and faithful. That's good. We'll see. As always, we will see. So 49ers have the Packers next week. Is it Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football?
Sunday night home opener.
Waiting all day for game. Sunday night.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, so 49ers have lost their last two returning home games back-to-back East Coast games. So, after the back-to-back East Coast games.
Yeah, that was a bad note on my part. But what I meant is, so the last 2 times that they've had back-to-back East Coast games where they stay there because, they usually find a city in the East Coast to stay at, and they practice there, and then they play again, and then they come back. So when they come back, they've lost those last 2 games.
Is that counting last year's trip?
I think so. Yeah.
Where they lost everyone on that trip to injury.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think Kyle even mentioned, or at least admitted, that, that's an issue. He doesn't really know why. He thinks maybe just the timing of everything is kind of off, like your body clock, or I don't know. Which, I don't know if that's encouraging at all, to know that he knows it's a thing but doesn't know why. He just said, it could be that we're just sluggish, coming back, which I get it. I mean, you're
Fair.
away from the facility and your family for quite a while, and it takes a toll on the body. I get it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't get it at all because I don't play football, but I sympathize.
Sorry, that was funny. It really takes a toll on your body. I don't know what it feels like. Yeah. But I mean, something to consider. Maybe this is the season of breaking trends. Kyle Shanahan wasn't known to be a good week 1 manager, a head coach. Manager was a spaceball. He wasn't known to be a good week 1 head coach, and he scored the most points he's ever scored week 1 this year. So maybe they will turn that trip curse around the next week. So. I don't know. We'll see. Like we talked about, Mosley is expected to be back, so that's a plus.
Huge boost, yeah.
And we know, based on the past ass kickings that the Niners have given the Packers, that their defense is a easier matchup for the offense. Why is that, Steph? Explain to the plebes out there. I don't know.
I mean, I think the Eagles just have a better defensive line. And I think the 49ers, I feel like, and just Kyle Shanahan, I feel, have the Packers number. Just like the last few times, it feels like we always play them. Just like the last few times we've played them.
It's psychological.
I think so. I mean, and to me, it dates back to like Colin Kaepernick days.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, we have owned the Packers, and I hope this is not a freezing cold take come next week, but we have owned the Packers like since those days. And I honestly don't know why, because to me, like, it's always a scary game. I'm like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, they're such a potent offense. This is going to be, like, so scary. And, we always end up dominating them for whatever reason. I think Kyle just like knows what to draw up against this defense. And so I feel like he's going to just exploit that again. Of course, there's concern about how the run game is going to get going when, you don't know who's going to be back there. It's going to add a new wrinkle. But, yeah, I mean, I'm still pretty hopeful. Even Garoppolo has had good games against the Packers. So
yeah. Even Garoppolo.
I mean,
that's where we are. Yeah, and hopefully Elijah Mitchell is back in there and is able to replicate that week 1 success that we saw from him. We'll see what happens with the rest of the running back rotation. So Carry On will probably be called up. Is that the assumption?
I think so.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm sure they'll sign one of those 3 running backs that are going to be visiting. But, if they play, like, I can't imagine they'll be playing a whole lot.
Yeah. What about
literally just
Trenton Cannon?
I think so. Yeah, I think he definitely will have an opportunity to play a little more. I mean, he played 1 snap yesterday, and like I said, he's going to be forced into a bigger role, whether he's ready for it or not. Yeah, so hopefully,
we'll pray for him.
Prayer circle. Prayer circle.
Prayer circle. Yeah. And the last question, we got to end it on this question. Will we see more of Lance against the Packers? I'm going to say no, based on week 2. I don't know. Is there a wrong or right answer to this? Like,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
We saw him week 1. We didn't see him at all yesterday. I don't know. I don't even know what the strategy is anymore. And
See,
I've been pretty vocal about
I
this.
put my tinfoil hat on, and I told
It's a
myself
surprise.
maybe he didn't want to play Lance in this game because he wants the Packers to be like so shocked, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But also, I
Yeah.
feel like so Kyle said like, okay, he said something to the effect of, or maybe it's just the way I interpreted it, that he didn't want to put Lance in with the Eagles because he didn't give them, or like he wouldn't add anything, I guess,
Yeah.
to
He
their
said it wouldn't
chances or
be
something
adding
like that.
anything. Yeah.
Right. Against the Eagles, which makes sense. They were a tough defensive line. I think Lance would have been a little, at some points
So
maybe.
you're saying this might be a better opportunity to get Lance in the game because it's going to be a little bit of an easier time on offense.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
At least I hope so
well,
too.
I'll get my tinfoil hat too. I'll play. We'll see.
All right. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
As we always
This
do.
title of this episode, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see. That's all we got for you guys today. If you guys think that Trey Lance is going to start week 3, you let us know. If you think he's going to come in at some point during the game, there's people out there that are like, Trey Lance should start week 3. They exist. They exist.
Don't I know it?
You know me, I'm a reporter. I love the drama and the chaos. So hell, do it. Would love to watch it unfold. We'll talk about the Packers game next week. I don't really know what to expect. Week 1 could have been a flub, and they don't play until tonight. We're recording this on Monday, of course. So we'll be back next Monday to talk about the Packers game and hopefully 3-0 San Francisco 49ers team. We will see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Stragasaurus. And follow us and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, 49K Pod, and subscribe to us on whatever streaming platform you prefer. We're on all of them. So we thank you as always for listening. Steph, you want to sign us off?
Yes, I do. And yeah, so for those of us, it looks like, so Kyle just joined us, Kyle B. Sorry, Kyle, you did miss us. We're signing off, but you can find us on, all your favorite streaming platforms tomorrow morning. So with that, peace.
Peace out. Peace.